Okay, hello everyone. Oh, okay, now you're recording. Hello everyone, my name is Cryogenic Sea Captain Awesome Sauce, and if you can kind of see the thing in the background, you probably can tell what it is. Yes, the background around the video is actually the WWE Hall of Fame uh, logo. Don't believe me? See, there it is. Anyway, the TLC behind. First off, for anybody who doesn't realize, I am one of the. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan since I was 3 years old. And I've watched and have taken time to watch anything and everything you can know about wrestling, from WWE, WWF days to WCW, TNA, Ring of Honor, Chikara, NWA, AWA, New Japan Pro, Dragon's Gate, you name it, I've watched it. From the really big name parties to the local indie shows. Growing up in Michigan, I have seen pretty much anything and everything that is there is to be about wrestling. And when I was younger, especially after WrestleMania, uh, when I was younger, I would often talk to my friends during this time and try to figure out who we thought we were going to see go into the ever-present WWE Hall of Fame, which isn't really that lucrative as people may have think it out to be. For those of you who are saying, the first original inductee was Andre the Giant, and to this day, uh, there's only been 129 total inductees. That's 95 individuals, 9 groups with 25 members each, one of which was inducted twice, which shouldn't really count. 8 celebrities and a fan have all been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Second of all, it is recently has it become sort of a thing that they've actually done. But as you don't know, for a long period of time, there was no Hall of Fame, and there was no inductions. Nobody was going in. Nobody was going in, etc., etc. In fact, they really didn't become a thing, an official thing, until WrestleMania uh, 20, 10 years ago. And here we are at the course of WrestleMania 32, and now it's kind of getting to the point where we're beginning to, although there are a lot of good wrestlers out there, we're beginning to stretch I think maybe having inducted so many people nowadays, that line is becoming stretched thin is what determines what is a Hall of Fame caliber wrestler. I mean, if Edge can get in the year he retires, kind of makes me think maybe something about this whole thing is a bit rigged, or it has to do with talent relations between the wrestlers and Vince or Triple H. And unfortunately, that's how it is. I mean, look how long it took them to get Bruno Sammartino in. And that was the one thing that always got to me. It took them that long to get Bruno Sammartino in. Guys that were considered to be cornerstones of the cornerstones of their era at the time to get into the Hall of Fame, it took forever to get in. Even then, I mean, you would think that Hogan or Roddy Piper or the American Dream Dusty Rhodes or the Ultimate Warrior or Bret Hart would have been shoe-ins very early after their retirement to go into the Hall of Fame, had it been a thing once they were retired from not competing all the time. Same thing with Ric Flair. So I've gone and compiled a list of people that I think should make it in the Hall of Fame. So this is basically my Hall of Fame class of 2016. Now, before I get into that, let's get a couple things right. Here are people that will not be going in the Hall of Fame in 2016. The Rock. Yes, I've heard people say this all the time. The Rock should be in the Hall of Fame. And yes, The Rock is a Hall of Fame caliber career. However, I don't think The Rock's fully done with in-ring work. And I think I think he has to make sporadic appearances here and there. But I don't think he's going to officially with the sporadic appearances that he does. I think The Rock can maybe give us 2-3 more years before he finally calls it official quits in the ring. Second of all, I heard people say Chris Jericho should go in the ring. Chris Jericho is a talent booster. Chris Jericho comes in nowadays first of all, he's got Fozzy anyways, and is working more with them than he is the actual in-ring competitive. But he's that one wrestler that comes in every once in a while to make a young wrestler look good. And as long as he's doing that, I think he still can have a little bit longer career than what he needs to be. Third, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. As much as I would like to see Owen Hart and the British Bulldog get in the Hall of Fame, I see Bulldog more than Owen Hart, mainly because, well, unfortunately, I hate to say it, and some people might say his wife's a bitch, and that's simple. And that is simple. I have met Owen Hart's wife in real life and brought up Owen, and she flipped on me. Okay, so let's. She's still a little tentative, and I'm like, it's been 15 years plus. Go past it and move on. Okay, it's done. All of the fans have forgiven has forgiven what has happened. Like, other people I've heard think it's Houston Thunder Liger. As much as I'm a huge Liger fan, Liger is my favorite wrestler by far, other than Hayabusa. I'm not joking when I say that. I love watching Houston Liger wrestle. I loved watching Hayabusa wrestle before he broke his neck. But I think one match in NXT doesn't constitute going into the WWE Hall of Fame. And people say, well, Mil Mascaras got to go in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, but Mil Mascaras had more than one match with WWE, for those of you who don't know. Antonio Inoki got in the Hall of Fame. Yes, but Antonio Inoki was also WWF's World Martial Arts Heavyweight Champion. An actual title that he actually held and actually defended. So, so that one's out of the question. My apologies for the interruption. What was I? Oh yeah. Another thing you might hear a lot of people talk about going to the Hall of Fame this year is Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker. Again, Taker hasn't announced his retirement yet, or do we know he's got all speculation? Everybody's going, oh, he lost to Lesnar, and he's not as young as he used to be, and whatever. And yes, I'll agree, Taker isn't as young as he used to be, but I think with his limited schedule, he could still make it to maybe 30 years in the ring. I mean, look how long Ric Flair wrestled before he finally called it quits. I think he still has a couple years left in him. Not much, though. Not much. Taker's time is coming. And I don't care what anybody says, when it comes to putting over Brock Lesnar, nobody does it better than Taker. I am sorry. I really do apologize for that. Anybody who says otherwise, Taker is one of the best people to put over Brock Lesnar ever. Now that we got that out of the way, Josh coming in the room with me. Hello. I'm going to go over my class of 2016. Now, these may or may not go in the Hall of Fame now, or they may go sometime in the future. But this is the one that I think would be like my class based upon available wrestlers or workers for past and present that worked for the company. So let's get started. First up, the Big Bossman, our real life name. Real life name, Ray Traylor. An unfortunate circumstance of being a wrestler who is now deceased. Big Bossman was one of those wrestlers that I've always enjoyed watching, showing you that even as a big guy, he could still manage to move very quickly. Of course, he had that really, really weird-looking splash when he was really big, back when he wore the blue thing. Back when he wore the blue, and that may be one thing, but to have a career as long as he did, he came and went like he was the big boss man for Big Boss for all time. And when he was the tag team with Akeem the African Dream, and then he leaves, he goes to WCW. He's Big Bubba Rogers for a while, and he comes back and he lost a lot of weight and he looked really, really healthy. He wasn't really big, but he just I kind of wish he had it a longer than what he did. And I think, maybe it's time to honor him into the Hall of Fame. I really, and that's the thing. Number 2, Tommy Dreamer. Now, I know Tommy Dreamer is currently signed to a contract with WWE right now, and I know this is weird, but I think after all this time, I think it's about time we induct a ECW original into the Hall of Fame. And people say, oh, well, Terry Funk's in it. Yeah, well, Terry Funk is in the Hall of Fame, but Terry Funk isn't original ECW. He's not somebody that ECW had taken and built up. And that's what we have with Tommy Dreamer. And there is, I'm sorry, I don't care what it says, Rhino, Sabu, whatever. There is no wrestler that better describes the idea that was ECW now, then, and still does now, any more than Tommy Dreamer. The man was called the innovator of violence for a reason. And I think if they were going to eventually say, hey, these people exist, this company exists, we need to honor them, I think Tommy Dreamer would probably be the best forefront runner to go into the Hall of Fame, to be that ECW guy to go in the Hall of Fame. 3, there's going to be a real thing later. The Brooklyn Brawler. I know people are going to be like, the Brooklyn Brawler, but come on. There wouldn't be the term jobber really used today's thing if it weren't for wrestlers like the Brooklyn Brawler, who are just hired in the company just to lose. And that's what he was. He was a wrestler designed to lose. And he did it so well. And when you're a good loser, people like you. And people liked the Brooklyn Brawler. We liked to hate him. And it was always that, well, maybe he could win. Well, no. And he epitomizes, he deserves that honor of being that one thing. Number 4, Hardcore Bob Holly. This is like one I'm surprised hasn't gone in yet. One of those good, really, never really a big wrestler, but could still move and still had his moments in the sun. Maybe put Crash in, I don't know, but I don't think Crash is going in. Number 5, manager this time. Number 5, Slick. Slideshow Bro. Reverend Slick. One of the best managers ever, African American managers in the business by far. One of my favorite managers. It was always funny too because when they shot the promos and these vignettes, they actually had to have him kneel to do the promos because it's always been showed that all the managers are supposed to be shorter than their who they're managing, their wrestlers, and this is because one of the most famous wrestlers, the Grand Wizard, is because they're too small to be a wrestler. So now they're teaching other people to wrestle. Although they love the business, they can't wrestle in ring. Slick is 6'4". And it's kind of hard to show a 6'4" guy being short. Number 5. Number 6, the man with no gimmicks needed. Skip for the body Donnas, Chris Candido. I honestly think Candido should have gone in way before, and I'm still kind of mad that he hasn't been in yet. Big Chris Candido fan. I really can't. Big shocker. Here's a shocker one, right? Shane McMahon. I'm saying this right now. Put Shane in before Vince. I know it sounds crazy to say this, but I think maybe Shane is, Shane deserves it. He honored, next is a tag team. And like, well, we'll take him. Demolition. How's Demolition? As much as I like Demolition, I would rather see the Steiner Brothers go in the Hall of Fame before Demolition. I'm sorry. Maybe that's just bias of me. Anyways. And now, the one that people don't know. One guy I think should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. The one guy who was instrumental in this entire business, the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania, everything actually existing. Toots Mond. Now, if you don't look at me, the way how Toots Mond is, here's a history lesson for you. Toots Mond is the promoter who gave Vincent Kennedy McMahon Sr. the backing and money to start the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, aka the predecessor that would later become the WWF, which would later become the WWE. So, remember this one? Without Tootsman, WWE as we know it would not exist. And yet, here's a man that has not been honored by the company. It's like saying, hey, thank you for money and stuff and getting us on our feet, but no, fuck you. And, it's always that one shocker thing. So, just for shock value, why not? I know the relationship went sour, we're thinking the guy is dead, but why not former on-air WWF president Jack Tunney? And, I honestly think that. So, I want your opinion on it. Like, who do you think deserves to go in the Hall of Fame? Is it any of the people that I mentioned? Or do you have your own idea of who thinks should go in the Hall of Fame? As always, I'm Cryogenics. If you like this video, hit that like button and leave a comment below on what you think should be in the who should be in the Hall of Fame for this year, for the class of 2016. If you enjoyed this video, then share it with your friends on Facebook and Twitter and whatever sharing site you use. And you want to see more videos like this or other gaming videos or anything that I've done in the past or will do in the future, then please hit that subscribe button. As always, I'm Cryogenics. This was my ideal class for the WWE Hall of Fame 2016, and I see you all in the next video. Until then, goodbye, everyone.